What is up, everybody? Today is episode 39 of the No Notes podcast with Maddie B, H Double. Oh, yeah, and our special guest, Michael Rector, former wide receiver of the Detroit Lions and Stanford Cardinal. We're super excited to have him on, and we're super happy that he agreed to meet with us. Shout out to our friend Kevin,
Yeah.
who knows Michael. And I'm not going to really give anything more away because we want to ask some questions and stuff. But we appreciate you once again, Michael, for hopping on. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited for it.
Matt, that was a good intro, but there is one thing you forgot about Michael. That might be the most important thing. He was a member of the SLU Football Rec League championship team this past year. So I figured I should give you respect for that.
Sorry, Michael, that was my bad. I know flag football is super important. That's my bad.
When Kevin was down, he was wearing that shirt all the time, which he said you and him ran into each other getting that shirt. So, but he was wearing it all the time. So I wonder if you just wanted to flex or what. But.
Hey man, undefeated. We got to run it back next year. Got to defend that title.
That's what I like to see. But yeah, Matt, you can go ahead. You can go first.
Yeah. So Michael, I read up that you were a 5-year senior at Stanford. And I want to know kind of how you ended up going to Stanford and choosing Stanford over, let's say, your other opportunities that you had. Why did you choose Stanford over others?
Yeah, so obviously I'm from Seattle. So originally, I feel like you're born in the Seattle area. You kind of have a UW Husky logo stamped on your birth certificate. And so I was actually committed there for, I think, 9 months. I committed during my junior year. And, I grew up always wanting to be a Husky. And then Stanford came along a little bit later, and my parents were really pushing Stanford, but they would support me either way. And so it took me a while. It was a hard decision, but, Stanford for me, personally, it was just better academically and athletically, at least when I was going there. And so, I switched, I think, a week before signing day to Stanford. Only the coaches knew. Nobody else knew. The fans didn't know. The media didn't know. And so it was kind of a big debacle on signing day when the news stations were there. And then I chose the Stanford hat over the UW hat. So that was a big thing then. But I have no regrets from that. And we won 3 Pac-12 championships in my time there, so can't regret that either. And having a degree from Stanford, I think can go a long way. So I think that's what really chose me to pick Stanford, really.
So
I definitely do remember your Pac-12 championships because I'm an Oregon fan, so I don't really like it, but I'm happy for you that you won those. So we can agree to disagree, I guess.
Yeah, he's a big Oregon fan. So, but yeah, so going kind of off of where obviously you picked Stanford. I also we did some research on you coming into this, and I saw something that said you were a 3-sport athlete in high school. You were a really good soccer player and also a track star. And, from what I saw from you playing intramural, because I was at your first game, you're pretty athletic. So I feel like you could play any sport you put your mind to. So when was it kind of like for you that you wanted to pursue football as your main sport?
Yeah. So I feel like I started playing football a little bit later than most. I started in 7th grade. Basically, my mom obviously wanted to keep her little baby boy away from all the contact and that. But yeah, played soccer, played track, played basketball growing up. And honestly, almost played soccer instead of football in college. And so that was the two it really came down to. And I had to make a decision because both seasons are in the fall season for men in college. And so it was either football or soccer. And I felt like, I could have gone either way, but I think my heart was pulling me a little bit more towards football. I think if you put me in a different country, if I'm born in Spain or somewhere like that, I think I'd be playing soccer. But I felt like in America, in college, going forward past college and the pros, I felt like for me, I think football was a little bit more attractive in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely, football obviously is what soccer is actually called, but there's obviously American football. So that just tells you how popular football is in America. So yeah.
So going off of Charles' question about you choosing football, Do you ever look back at like your career from Stanford and your opportunity you had to kind of train with the NFL? Do you wish that you would ever have chosen soccer and maybe gone pro with that, like MLS, or are you happy with the route that you've chosen?
Yeah, so obviously, I think about those different, timelines that could have been, but I don't regret it at all. I think I'm really happy with the path that I chose. Obviously, I think soccer would have been a lot of fun too. But I have no regrets with football. I think the biggest thing, that football has done for me is introduced me to so many great people, and some of my best friends that I've met throughout college and the pros, honestly, are people that I know that I'll have relationships with for my life. And I think that's the beauty of football. You're just you go through everything, the ups and downs together. You're going through the dog days of 2 days in training camp. You're bleeding together, you're sweating together, and you're in that locker room together. And it's really hard to find another locker room that's so tight and so knit that you find in a football locker room, especially at Stanford. There's just a great community there, and there's a lot of great guys. And so I think it's just a special environment there. And so I think no regrets from that end.
Yeah, you answered one of the questions I was going to ask you later on was like how much in contact you stay with your football family. And it seems like, that's still a really strong connection, even though, it's been years past and you're on to a new chapter. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I talk to a lot of my Stanford guys, I would say every day, if not every other day. But so we're talking every week. We're still in, fantasy football leagues and whatnot, all that fun stuff. But yeah, we get on group FaceTimes. We have group Zooms, like once a month. And so, yeah, it's good. We all take like a golf trip every year. And so it's been good to stay in contact with them for sure.
I'll be nice and tell you this guy right here won our fantasy football league, actually. So
Ooh,
did it go good for you this year or not that good?
Shoot, man, this year I was the defending champ. I won last year.
Same, me too.
Year, there you go. There you
yeah.
go. Oh, it was a rough season this year, man. I had Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, had Russell Wilson there. It's just a lot of injuries, man. If I stayed healthy, I was gonna win. I felt. But congrats to you down there, though, winning it this year, huh?
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I had a lot of deep waiver wires because my team got hurt too. So
there you go.
You do what you do.
Man.
But you kind of were. I was actually going to ask you this because doing research and I watched you during the 16 Rose Bowl when you guys played Iowa. Great game, by the way, by you. But obviously, another big name, another teammate on your team was obviously C-Mac, right? Christian McCaffrey. So my first question was, did you draft him in your league? Which obviously you did. And two, how was having him in the locker room and just could you tell that he was NFL material? Like when do you know that someone's special, especially like a teammate like that? And he seems very humble, but like, what did you get from him? Like, what was he like?
Yeah. So yes, I did draft him. He's our consensus number one, I would say, every year. And so yeah, he was off the board first. But I mean, once you get a generational talent like Christian, you notice it right away. I was a couple years older than him, so he came in as a freshman. I was an upperclassman then. And immediately, I think from the first practice we had, you could tell that he was different. Coming straight out of high school, he had different footwork, he had different cutting ability, going left to right, and then just that acceleration off the line was different too. And so we knew he was going to be special. I would honestly say from the first time we saw him step on the field. And what you get from him, his attitude is just so infectious. He is very humble, but he works for everything he has and everything he's earned, honestly. He's the hardest worker in the gym. He's there first. He takes off last. And honestly, he just gets in and he puts in the work. So, what you see on Sundays or how you see him perform, he worked for that and he earned that. And, that's one of the best things I could say about him. And I think he's a better person than he is a football player, and I think that speaks a lot. And so yeah, we still talk pretty frequently, and so he's in good spirits. Hopefully next year he get a good year going, and we'll see where he is again.
I mean, if you ever want him, just say, hey, request a trade to the Patriots. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. We would love to have him. So if you want to do
Yeah.
that for me, I appreciate that.
I'll give him the word.
Sports plug right here for his favorite teams. Yeah, I feel like we gotta address now, and obviously this was the Christian McCaffrey, like I guess you can maybe say breakout game for the nation, and that was the Rose Bowl that Matt mentioned, 2016. But we gotta show you a little bit of love too, because you had 2 touchdowns, and we can't let that go unnoticed. So I want to ask you personally, because I watched the highlights. I remember after your intramural game, Kevin told me you're an NFL player. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. He's super fast. I could see that. And then I remember like a month later, he's like, he caught 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl his junior year of playing. And I was like, oh, so I looked at the highlights, and the first touchdown you caught, I don't know how much you're allowed to say it without giving away play call, but it was a fake fumble. And the announcer, I remember when you caught the touchdown, I was like, this is a play they practiced throughout the week. So you want to kind of go through like how that was, and was that play designed for you, and just, kind of take us through that, that moment. And then also scoring 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl, that's a memory I'll be able to carry with me, throughout my life. No one can really take that away from me. And so that's a pretty special, surreal moment to experience. But yeah, that entire week, Rose Bowl week leading up to it, doing our scouting, we knew that their linebackers and their safeties played kind of shallow the line of scrimmage, kind of within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. And we knew they were super aggressive in trying to stop the run. And we felt that they definitely would be with Christian in the backfield, obviously. And so we knew that, if we could try to fake a fumble, have Christian kind of go down for it as well, that it would suck up their secondary. Both their safeties and their linebackers would react to that. And so really the play call was just to fake that fumble. Kevin Hogan was our quarterback. Have Christian look like he was going down for the ball. And out on the outside for me, I was just kind of acting like I was blocking, kind of going towards the safeties, slow playing it like I'm going up to just block them, and then kind of put them to sleep. And then once they reacted, we just took off, and it was a race to the back of the end zone. And luckily, we were able to connect on that.
Yeah, you had some yards on him on that play for sure. Like it was definitely that was a good play call, because you were definitely open. So
yeah, good scouting.
Yeah, I love plays like that. Trick plays, those are the best in my opinion, especially to watch. But yeah, that's crazy.
So when speaking about the Rose Bowl and these different plays and games and scouting, what was your favorite game to play in? And that can be bowl game or regular season game. What was your favorite game to play in, and why?
And also, I'll just add to that real quick. What was the most intense atmosphere you played in as well?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, obviously we played in 3 Rose Bowls. The Rose Bowls are great atmosphere. I mean, you're there, 100,000 plus fans in the stands, and that's just a great game day experience. And the week building up to it, the teams enjoy it, and that's a fun experience. I would say one of the best games I think we've played, probably against Notre Dame. We have a season series with them, so we play them every year, and we've had a lot of battles with them, especially during my time there. And I would say, honestly, there was one in the pouring rain in Notre Dame, and it was like every year the home team would win, so we would win at our place, they'd win at their place. But this was the first time in like 10 years it switched up, and we were able to pull one out at their place. And it was just pouring rain. It was probably like 35 degrees, probably like 20 degrees with the wind chill. Rain was going sideways. You see it on the TV. It was just horrible. People are under there. We're wearing like 3-4 layers. It was freezing, but it was a battle, and it went down to the last play, and we were able to pull it out. So I think that was probably one of the best games we played. And then I think anytime we play Oregon, I think they have some fake noise up there. We think they put a little microphone in front of the crowd and make it louder than it is. But that's a good atmosphere. We had some battles with USC, and then I always like coming back to Seattle in front of the hometown fans, in front of my family, playing the Huskies. So I would say those 3 teams in the Pac-12 are fun games to play in.
Yeah, and this is a story. When I was talking to Matt like a month ago about, it was kind of a long shot. I wasn't sure at all if you get on, but I was like, Kevin has a classmate who was a former Stanford player, and he's like, oh, who was it? I was like, Michael Rector. And he goes, yeah, I've heard that name before. So I was like, all right. So he knows his Pac-12 football, definitely. And so I thought that was
when
just
you
cool.
get beat by Stanford all the time as an Oregon fan, you kind of know who beats you, which is unfortunate. So
yeah,
We had some battles with Marcus Mariota and the boys back then.
yeah, that's
exactly.
sick. That's
but
sick.
hey, we did beat you in 15 to go national championship game, so I'll take that. But it seemed like
Yeah,
every year it was
how's you doing
okay.
that?
You got to rub it in, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I
How's
mean,
that game
hey,
go?
well, we lost to Ohio State, but hey, we don't talk about it.
Hey, you didn't have to bring up how they beat Stanford, but yeah. So I also want to, obviously, your junior year Rose Bowl might have been the most memorable, but obviously you won 3 Pac-12s, and you went to 2 more Rose Bowls, and you went to one you're technically your freshman year, but you didn't play, and then you went to one the next year when it was like your freshman year of playing, and you guys won obviously their first year, and then the second year you guys lost. You won against Wisconsin, lost against Michigan State. And in that second game, the one you lost, you had like essentially the first play of the game almost. It was technically the second, but you had that 43-yard catch, and you're just a freshman coming in. And so I just want to ask you, how was that, because that was like of course you had your first year, but this was your first year playing. How was that like atmosphere being in a Rose Bowl? And then how do you think that helped you for you personally when you went at it again your junior year of playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said earlier, like the Rose Bowls, those atmospheres are crazy. Everyone's having a great time, super loud. And as a competitor, I think that's what you live for. Obviously, you play for the man upstairs, but you love performing in front of crowds. You love playing for people as well. And so I would say, that was probably the biggest game to date in my career at that point, obviously. And getting that bomb really, that deep catch really, gives you a lot of confidence going forward, knowing that you can put together and perform, on the biggest stage. And that was, those were the biggest stages of college football, the days before the playoffs. And so, that gives you a lot of confidence going forward, and then it gives you a little bit of experience when you go to your next one, kind of know what to expect. The butterflies are still there, but they're not as large.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you a sense of ease going into it the next go round.
And yeah, I gotta also give you credit. It was your other big play from scrimmage in that Rose Bowl you guys lost against Michigan State. Your run on another trick play. I got to give you credit because I watched that game. The patience you showed for then that guy I don't know who it was, but he absolutely trucked the defender for your block, and it allowed you to get downfield. So I just wanted to give you props for the patience there.
Fullback, yeah.
He's
a beast. That was a good play. Hopefully, or sadly, we couldn't pull that one off. But you can't win them all, huh?
Yeah, and I also just want to ask you, because this was just from the rec league, but I remember you played quarterback a lot on that team this past year, and you were throwing bombs, if I'm being honest, and you were running. Obviously, you had the ability to scramble, being super fast. Did you ever consider playing quarterback? I'm just curious.
Dude,
I gotta ask you that.
The arm's there. You saw it. The arm's
you
there.
threw like 40. You threw 40 yards pretty easily. I'm gonna be honest. 50 yards about.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think I knew myself, and at that level, I think my speed was my best tool, my best asset there. But we did have some plays in when I can throw the ball, but we just never really called them at Stanford. We never really had that opportunity. But if the opportunity did present itself, I would have been ready. I would have let it go.
You were a heck of a safety too in that intramural. You basically did everything. I know it's intramural, but you literally did everything. So
trying to be there for the team.
Matt, you want to ask a question?
Yeah. So Michael, after you graduate Stanford, you go into the draft. And I believe you and Christian, were draft buddies. You guys both got drafted in 17. Obviously, Christian gets drafted in the first round. You wait, you go undrafted, then the Lions pick you up. Tell me how that experience was, and kind of what your feeling was of just having someone in the NFL take a chance on you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say after graduating and leaving, I think in training for the combine, that was like an experience in and of itself. Getting to be around guys from different schools, and seeing people perform at that level. I think I was roommates with Mitchell Trubisky, And that was the year he went to the Bears. And so
That's pretty cool.
it was cool to meet all these different people. But I think just having, going through that process, and having, teams reach out, to kind of how it works out, like towards the end of the draft, a lot of teams will start calling your agents and stuff, trying to get you if they want you as a priority free agent, a PFA. And so, we had a few different options on the table, and we felt, I'd never been to Detroit, but Detroit had a good quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And it was a great opportunity to be able to get out there and show what I can do. Unfortunately dealt with some injuries out there and whatnot. But no regrets there. I gave it a go, and my life goal is always to be a doctor. So we're doing the thing right now. We're in medical school right now, and it was just a matter of whether it was whenever I was done playing football. I knew football had a timeline, had a stamp date, and school would always be there. And so now we're in this phase of life.
I mean, you're just answering my questions for me. Telling me having to ask them, because I was going to ask about that. Because I saw an article as well, I think from right before your senior year, talking about how your dream field, being a doctor, and then you did like stealth sim research. And so, I could tell from that article, like your dream goal, obviously football is really important, but the dream at the end was to be a doctor. And that's great. You're pursuing it now. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gotta stay on those goals, stay on those dreams, man. They're all attainable if you put your head down, put the work in.
Exactly. So I also got to ask you, what was the experience, in the NFL? How much, different was it than college per se, from your eyes? Yeah,
I would say every level you go up, the more business-like, the more professional it becomes, whether it's from, high school to college, and then college to the pros. And it was a great experience. I think the best part about the NFL was, again, mirroring what I said at Stanford, were the people I met, some of the relationships I formed with my teammates. That was really special. And it was really cool to see, the ins and outs of how a professional, NFL team works. And so that was cool, but it's definitely a business when you get to that level. Everyone's pretty much expendable, and you really have to perform every day. But it was also pretty cool getting paid a king's ransom to play a children's game. Something you grew up playing on the playground. So that's the cool part of it too. But the experience, it's something not many people get to experience, and so it's something I'll always hold dear in my heart.
Definitely. Matt, you got anything you want to ask?
Yeah. So obviously, Michael, you're from Washington, but give us some of your favorite teams, or what you do outside of football. We love getting to know the football player, Michael Rector, but give us the person, Michael Rector. So what do you like to do? What are some things that really just make you tick?
Yeah. I would say I'm a big family guy. I have a big family. I have 13 nephews and I have 9 nieces. And so, lots of kids, lots of little babies running around. So I think spending a lot of time with them, really makes my world go round. And I really think that's really what put me onto the field of medicine. I think I want to be a pediatrician or do something with kids. And I think really that's just seeing them growing up, really steered me in the direction towards medicine. And so, outside of hanging out with my family, I'm a big golfer now. I'm an avid golfer. We try to get out there a couple times a week if we can, if we're not too busy with school. And just hanging out with friends, just laying back, relaxing, and if I'm not playing guitar, if I'm not playing piano, maybe I'm going to do ceramics. Fun fact, I like doing pottery. But just things like that to kind of be healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. I think all the above is good.
Yeah, that's super important. I do know one thing you're not a fan of, at least from what I can tell, because I follow you on Instagram. I've seen some of your stories. I'm sure you're struggling with this, and I saw you post a story about the Midwest winter and how cold it gets. I think it was 16 last week, and you post a thing. You're just like, this is not it. obviously being in Cali for so long, I'm sure this has been an adjustment for you.
Oh yeah, California makes you soft, man. You get spoiled with all the good weather out there. Not used to this, below 20-degree weather out here. So still adjusting, but hopefully we'll get it going here.
Yeah, Matt's in Utah, so he's not only got cold, but he's got altitude too. So.
Oh yeah,
it's freaking cold. So I understand you, Michael, and I hate it. So I'm there with you.
It's honestly been a warmer winter so far in Missouri for sure. So
that's what I hear. Yeah,
January, February might not be very nice to you then. Expect some snow and ice potentially. We already got a little bit, but yeah. All right, so this is something we like to do with our guests, and this is fun game we kind of like to do more near the end of when we get to these. It's guess how well do you know your stats essentially. This is your stats I have pulled up from ESPN, and then I also have your combine stats. So we'll go through a couple of those and see how well you remember your stats.
Okay.
Do you think you're going to be pretty good at this, or you're kind of like lost in the?
We'll find out.
We'll go a little. I'll give you something that I think this is probably something I feel like you would know. So I'll give you something easy to start. But what is Michael Rector's 40-yard dash that was marked at the combine?
Dude, laser was 4.42, but that was me at 15 pounds heavier than I played at. I was 195, but I would say my record was 4.32, but 4.42 at the combine electric.
4.32. Yeah, so you gave us a little extra fact.
Yeah.
Matt, is there anything that you wanna have him ask? There's from the combine, we have vertical, broad, 3-cone, 20 yards, 60 yards, and then any receiving. And there's a couple defensive stats too, obviously. Not many, but there are a few.
I'm gonna go with the bench press. What was
there was no bench press, at least on this.
There wasn't bench press still?
Did you do bench press? It doesn't have it on here.
So yeah, so I was at the combine with the torn labrum, but so I did it a couple months later at our pro day, and I put up 13, 225.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. This one you might struggle with a little bit.
Okay.
How many total tackles did you have in your 2015 season?
2015?
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I don't know. I think they're
close.
all off of 2 or 3. They're all off of interceptions, I think, honestly.
Yeah. Well, you're actually giving yourself too much credit. It was only 1.
Oh, dang. I would go that way. Yeah.
Yeah. There. Close. And it was a solo tackle though. So.
Hey, that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's how you do it. No assist tackle is a solo. Matt, you got something you want another one you want to ask him?
Yeah. So let's do. How many total touchdowns did you have in your career at Stanford?
Ooh. Yeah, I got it. This is receiving and rushing. If you extra credit if you can specify what for each one.
Yeah, that's tough. Is it 13?
No, yeah, you're being a little too cruel on yourself. It's not much higher than that, but it is more than that.
16.
Yeah, it's 16.
16. Okay.
How many receiving?
16. How many receiving?
Yeah, out of the 16.
Probably 14 or 15.
Yeah, it was 15. And you had 1 rushing touchdown, so.
Yeah, against USC. That was a nasty one. If you haven't seen it, go look that one up.
Okay. I'll go look at those highlights after this. I've been slacking.
Absolutely.
I've been slacking.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to brag because your 2015, you had one carry, but for -6 yards. So.
Tough.
Yeah.
Can't win them all.
Can't win them all. Nah. All right, we'll do one more. We'll do one more combine one. Let's do the vertical. We got to do the vertical jump. What was your vert?
Oh man, shoot.
See, I knew you'd know the 40-yard pretty well.
40,
But the rest, I don't know.
Dude, I want to say 38, but I feel like I was heavier at that point, so maybe like 36 and a half, 37.
Yeah, it's 36 and a half.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey man, you were pretty close on it. So if you weren't, what you said, 10 pounds heavier, what do you would have gotten 38? You think?
Yeah, I mean at Stanford, I was jumping 38. I was running 4.3s. Just I was 180 pounds at Stanford, so had to put on a little weight for the combine.
Yeah, I had to get that muscle up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, is there anything you want to ask? Last thing, because we're about out of time because you guys both have class. So that's,
Cool, boys.
I would say, what is the one thing after doing the NFL Combine and college football and now doing med school? What is one thing that you've taken as like almost like a life lesson from all those things? What is something that you could leave with us, like a life lesson, or what we should maybe do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I like to live my life. I like to see things as meritocracies. I think you earn what you're given, or you earn what comes to you. You're not really given anything. Nothing is given to you. So you have to really work for it. And I think that's true in any phase of life. If you're willing to be dedicated, if you're willing to put the time into it and, do your work, you'll be set and you'll earn what you deserve. But, don't take anything for granted. Work for everything you want. And, sky's the limit for you. That's how I see it.
Yeah, man, that's great advice for sure. And I really like also, just the last thing, I do like how, med school was kind of, being a doctor was really your true dream goal, even though football might have been the way more popular, avenue. And obviously you loved football, but I really like how at the end of the day, you really wanted to help out, more specifically as you're finding out kids, but, be a doctor. I think that's really good. And yeah, it shows, even if you're an athlete, at the highest level at points, you can do anything you want, really at the end of the day. So yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think, that's going to wrap it up. Michael, thanks for your time. Hopefully you're not late to class. But yeah, man, thank you so much. We appreciate the time. It was super fun, man. And
absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anywhere you want to if you guys want to plug anything, that they can follow you on social media, anything like that?
Shoot, just at Michael Rector.
At Michael Rector. All right.
Yes,
sounds
sir.
good.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. Super fun.
I appreciate you guys.
And yeah, Kevin,
make
if
sure to
you're
go
listening,
check out his USC run. That's his request. So if you listen, you gotta watch it.
And thank you, Kevin, if you're listening for this. And make sure you keep Kevin in check, all right? Because I can't do it anymore.
We'll try.
So it's up to you.
To hold me in check too.
All right, sounds good. All right, man. Well, you have a good day, and we'll let you know what's out.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. Bye.